everyone, and welcome to Christmas Day. It's hard to believe that this day is finally here. I wanted to share something this year a little bit different than maybe the previous years. Now, every year I talked about Christmas and having it slow paced and having it without all the commercialism of the world that we have now. And this year is the same, except for I went even a little more drastic. I only spent probably about $6, if I even spent that, this year on Christmas. And I did a whole bunch of videos throughout the week sharing with you what I've been doing for Christmas. I thought what a wonderful opportunity for me to go and show you just a little bit of a summary of what my Christmas looked like for the year 2025. Christmas morning, I hope that it finds you with no stress and have a peace of mind and not so worked up with the commercial world of Christmas. There are many people who don't even celebrate Christmas this year. They just have a nice family gathering. While I love celebrating Christmas, my outlook on Christmas has really changed through the years. And so let's get started in today's video and let me show you a little bit what brought me to Christmas Day. Now I have this plastic and it was made for pie dough, and I love using this for my Christmas ornaments. That way there's no mess on the counter. And now what I'm doing is putting them on my drying rack. I'm going to dry them. You can put them in the oven at 200 degrees for 10 minutes. But for me, the drying rack is amazing because beside the wood stove, they'll dry really quickly. Now what I noticed about these were the longer they sat, the darker they got. I was a little bit disappointed at first. I thought, well, they're not very dark. But after a few days, they will darken up. The cookie cutter does come from Gooseberry Patch. I bought it last year on eBay. It is a discontinued product, so you can find them though. They were originally made in the 80s and in the 90s. And I absolutely love these cookie cutters. It just adds a little bit more to it, having the little heart cut out of the gingerbread men. I also have some vintage gingerbread men cutters, but I used all of these this time because I wanted to make exactly what was on the cover of the 1990s Gooseberry Patch Christmas. Now, Christmas here on our homestead is a little different than maybe some other people's. We love having it natural. I took about 2 hours and worked on the cranberries and strung the cranberries, and everything here was free. And so you're not going to see a lot of shining lights or twinkles, stars. It's all natural. We don't put the emphasis on the store-bought Christmas, but it's more on just the natural way of living. Because of all the time and energy it is to create this, I decided I'm going to keep it up at least until January. at least till after my birthday, which is January 12th. Other years, soon after Christmas, I would decide to go ahead and take everything down. But not this year. Since our house looks just like a cabin, I'm going to keep this up for quite a while. The lights are battery operated ones, and I'm not sure how long they'll last. They're not very bright, but it's so pretty at night. There's just nothing quite as pretty as an oil lamp. Even though I do love these LED solar lights, it's just nothing like an oil lamp. And they help produce heat too. And now back to what I showed you yesterday and finish this project. The Gooseberry Patch Christmas, and then we are making the cinnamon candles, which are so simple and easy to make. As you know, yesterday we made the candles. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I take one of the candles and I'm going to take off the paper to it. Now make sure when you make candles this way that you're using styrofoam cups that are made for heated beverages. Now this isn't a styrofoam cup, but this is a little coffee cup that I got years ago. And I got it on Amazon, I am sure. Or the thrift store. It might have been the thrift store for these. Now what we're going to do is just peel the paper away. Now we have a two-colored candle. But now we're going to make it even more special. We're going to go ahead and dip it into some clear wax. Now this is clear. It's a soybean wax, but it's a clear one. And then we're going to dip it into the coffee beans. That was the first project I wanted to make. I like it. It didn't turn out like I wanted it to, but it's really cute. The coffee beans were not sticking on quite like I wanted them to, but it was adorable. But I was a little concerned about when I light the candle, what was going to happen with those coffee beans. But wait until you see what I did next with the cinnamon. And that was a perfect job. It did perfect project. Same thing. We're going to dip it into the clear and then into the cinnamon. And it is beautiful. It's to look like the old-fashioned candles. It's called primitive decorating. And it was beautiful. I ended up doing this for all the candles. Christmas is really important to me. And what's even more important to me is to have a Christmas that doesn't have to have a price tag to it. And so I wanted to see what I could find, what I could do that would make my Christmas extra special. And it has been a very special one. I wasn't so worried about social media, and I wasn't really worried about what other people are doing. I focused my Christmas this year on all the things that I enjoy and the things that bring me peace and comfort. But most of it was slow living. Every single day, having it an intentional way of living. When you have an intentional way of living, your stress levels just totally fall by the wayside. And you seem to have more energy. I don't worry if things aren't perfect. My Christmas, the biggest difference is my evenings. I spend my evenings watching the old-time Christmas shows. I love the shows from the 1930s to the 1970s. All the Christmas shows, a lot of them were black and white. How about Leave It to Beaver's Christmas Special? Or the Ozzie and Harriet Show, Christmas. All of these Christmas specials make it so much fun. And of course, we cannot forget about the Waltons' Christmas and Little House on the Prairie, Christmas at Plum Creek. All of these different shows I've been watching over and over again. And then I've been watching children's Christmas cartoons from the 1940s. And it brings me such happiness and joy. It brings me back to the old days, or Christmas in the war front, when World War II was going on and the different Christmas programs. I think that for me, it's just the start of a brand new year. And to just take things simple, learn how to be extremely tightwad, even more tightwad than I ever thought I could be, and learning things, skills that cost no money. I think about the Great Depression and what Christmas was like for them, and think about how it had such a meaning. And what did they do to have celebrations or holidays in the Great Depression? All right, now we have our lovely cedar. We're just going to go in and add some of the rose hips and the cedar just to set it off a little bit better. The outside of my home reflects the inside, simple and natural. And that's just how I like it. And now it's time to work on our mailbox. This is just a Dollar Tree, $1.25 little planter that I have on our mailbox. And I like to have a few nice Christmas decorations outside to reflect what people see inside. Now I'm just using all the different greenery that I cut. So we have cedar and yew. It's YEW bush, that is from 1963, and also some arborvitae from 1963, everything that was planted here when the mobile home came on the lot. And so I'm just working this, trying to get everything looking nice, and I had so much extra greenery. Now, previous years I was used to putting it inside the house, but because we have a wood stove, it's just too hot. In a matter of a few days, we would have a needle mess where needles would be all over the place. But I didn't want to waste it, so I thought of some other ideas that I could use with this extra greenery. I found my summertime Peter Rabbit out in the greenhouse, and I thought this is a wonderful way that I can make a little bit of a focal point here on my wraparound porch. I'm very blessed to have a wraparound wooden deck that goes the whole way around the front of my home, and I absolutely love it because when people come up in my home, they can easily see all the things that are on here, and plus people that drive by can see it as well. I want people to get that warm, comfy, cozy feeling when they drive by, and the feeling of a pioneer country Christmas. It doesn't have the bright lights or anything like that, but it does have that warm feeling of just comfortable coziness. And that's what I like. All right, I'm gonna go put these twigs in the fire, and then I have a few more branches yet. I'll see what I can make with it. All right, so I found this rug, and I'm gonna put it on the table, and you'll see in a minute what I'm gonna do. Now, I'm cutting this up because I found this out in the lawn, and I'm gonna use this for kindling. So let me go ahead and cut this up. Perfect. That's gonna give a lot of kindling. All right, so we have some branches left. I'm gonna see what I can make with them. All right, so I found two of these lights. We're gonna put these in the windows, and we'll put some of these pine cones in, just to give a little more decoration. All right, we'll put one in each center. And then we'll add some pine cones.
Much better. And now that will, at night, it'll light up. Pretty, I like it. Using what I got. Put the other one in the center. And put the pine cones on each side. Much better.
Or many things they did. Many things that you will be seeing in my videos coming up. So, yes, being a homemaker in the Great Depression was of a struggle, but they learned to think outside the box and have the most spectacular Christmas probably in a lifetime. I talked to people who lived in the Great Depression and I asked them, what are your fondest memories? Most of them is that they got together with family and they did things together. You know, they couldn't go to the store and buy things, so they all got together and created things. And they thought outside the box, and things were more appreciative. If one thing I can take away from all of this that I am learning every single day of my life is I really appreciate things more than I ever thought I would. And I think, how many uses can I have of something? How bare bones can I be? And you will be surprised to hear me say that the less that I have, the happier I have become. And, well, I guess that's for another video now, isn't it? Let's finish our Christmas special. And I hope that you had some time to sit down and enjoy this video. We live in a high-paced world. Social media is like this. We're supposed to watch things in 30 seconds or less. Just like this. Everything has to be bright, shiny, flashing on the screen every 5 seconds. Learn to slow down and actually enjoy things as they come and not always expecting things to go just like this. And that is why Christmas this year for me was even more special. Sleeping in, getting up and taking my time, making a meal, and not even washing the dishes after the meal was done. Enjoy company and being with people. I don't have to be rush. We don't have to have the snap of the finger every second of something spectacular and flashing in front of us. Sometimes, the old ways are the best. Well, everybody, I got my work clothes on. Today is a video of various jobs. It is pretty cold out here this morning, but I want to finish working on getting rid of the stuff in the garden. And also, my husband is going to be doing some old-fashioned chores as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now let's get started. Chore number 1 is I'm going to start a fire outside so I can melt some wax. I need some candles, and I make beeswax candles. And then I will show you what chore number 2 is. Let's get the fire started. When we had the major garage clean out, I went through all of my candle wax and put it together. And so I'm cleaning up this little area here, and I'm also going to get the wax. This is soybean wax and it's beeswax. It's mostly beeswax in the bright yellow and in the white and the really pale yellow. I think there's a little soybean in here as well. People talk about my camp grill all the time. You can see it's very low to the ground. There's a story behind this little camp grill. The groundskeeper was going to throw it away because it broke. It broke off. It was laying over. And he asked us if we want to have it. And so we took it home. It's only 2 feet high. It's very short, but it works perfect for all of the things that I like to do here in the homestead. So let's go ahead and start our fire. I have some very old wood that I was collecting. And we have our teapot full of wax. Let's get this wax melted because I have another project to do. Working on my childhood chair. Now this is in really bad shape and I want to see if I can restore this a little bit, and then I'll put it inside the house and go with my table. Lemon oil does wonders. I don't want to paint it. I want to keep its original varnish. I'm just going to go ahead and work on this and see if I can get this looking so much better. All right, we're gonna pour all of this wax into this so it's easier to pour. I added some brown dye to it and chocolate scent. Now let's go ahead and make the candles. And now we're going to work on the walnut dye. I'm a little late in the season, but that made the walnut dye even darker. Now the walnuts were sitting in a big kettle of water, well, the rainwater when it would rain, and it made it really dark. And I just took a sieve and I sieved out all of the debris, and I found these linen towels that were in the garage, and we're going to dye them really dark brown. Back in the old days, this is how they dyed their clothing. They used all kinds of different natural ways to dye. And I'm realizing that the longer you let your walnut sit, the darker the dye will become. No other dye added. I had these walnuts soaking for about 2 months. That's how I get it really nice and brown. Now to get the dye to set, you want to have a cup of salt to it. And now the leftover dye I can use all year, and this is what I use for my ink. As you see me use my feather pen, I use the dye as the ink. I just add a little bit of vinegar to it, so that way the dye doesn't get rancid. And now it's time to set everything up. And it would take about a day or two for it to dry, depending on the weather. We've had some snow here and there, and not a whole lot, but it kept it from drying out as much as I thought it should. It turned out the most amazing project ever. Through the years, you've seen me make this a lot, but never with the rich brown tone that the walnuts did. This was 100% free, all walnut dye, simply because I left the walnuts so much longer in the rainwater. Well, now I think it's about time for the wax to be done. It turned out amazing. I'm adding a few chocolate chips to the top of this candle, just to give it a little bit more of a bakery scent. I like doing things like that, trying new things. It's time to clean up and relax just a little bit, because then my husband has a job he wants me to help him with. And it's something that all of you said he needs to do. So he decided he would make a little workbench to put his log splinter on. These were just random pieces of wood that we had left over from our ceiling job. But it was free, didn't cost us nothing, and he was quite pleased with the end of the amazing project. I say it's amazing because we didn't have to go any stores, we didn't have to buy anything. It was stuff just laying around the house. It was such a fun day for me, finding stickers that I could use in the jars and creating a whole bunch of gifts that for me personally didn't cost me anything. It was stuff I had way in my stash of things. You know, I'm starting to realize that I'm having more fun creating things than buying them. Now, I didn't grow up with a mother who did a lot of crafts and things like that, but I always loved crafts. I always loved making candles. I always loved doing these things, and the older I get, the more I enjoy these type of things. Excuse the look of my hands, they have walnut dye on them yet, and in a couple days that will disappear. And now what I'm doing is making these candle melts, or they're called wax tarts. Years ago for my birthday, I got the cinnamon roll, and this was a mold that was handmade. And now, to put the finishing touches on, of course, the icing on the cinnamon rolls. Oh, these smell so delightful. And one of the little ones is great for starting fires. It's made with soybean wax and beeswax. So everything is pretty much natural. What do you like to do for Christmas? Or just do for a hobby in general? I don't sew or crochet or any of those things, but we all have certain hidden talents. Mine just happens to be I love making candles. Thanks again for watching this Christmas special, and I can't wait to share with you again tomorrow what I'm working on, because I have a video out 7 days a week. 365 days of the year. And I hope that you get some inspiration and you learn to slow down just a little bit more. Hey, what's the hurry? Every day can be the best day of your life. Just take the time to enjoy it.